the kids of Key West, Florida, there was nothing scarier than a monster matinee.
Lawrence Woolsey, the master of movie horror, exterminates you with Mad.
Since I haven't had a lot of time to make new videos, I'm going to try and do this one quick. To me, Joe Dante's Matinee is one of the most underrated movies ever made. It was a tribute to the early 60s B-movies that he was raised with, and a tribute to movie making. The movie revolves around two events taking place in 1962 Key West. One was the premiere of a new monster movie, and the other is the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's mainly a coming-of-age story for the main character, Gene, where monster movies represent innocence and childhood, and the Cuban Missile Crisis represents reality and adulthood. And this is shown in a real clever way with the atomovision process made by Lawrence Woolsey, where this process symbolizes the change where Gene's love of movies and the fear of the outside world is suddenly blurring and colliding together. At the end of the film, you definitely have this feeling that it's the end of an era for these kids. That a lot of baby boomers say that the Cuban Missile Crisis and the assassination of JFK were two moments that shattered their innocence. That at that point, naivete and fantasy and irony started to disappear, and reality of the world really started to sink in after that. Besides the story about the kids, what really makes this movie great is the Woolsey character and John Goodman's performance. Lawrence Woolsey is based on the B-movie maker William Castle, who always tried to invent these gimmicks to try and get people to show up to his movie. One of his famous ones was shown in Matinee, or paid homage in Matinee, was from the movie The Tingler, where every time the Tingler showed up, these little buzzers would go off under the seats. But apparently he was so cheap, he would only put about 5 underneath the whole audience, so if you wanted to get buzzed, you had to look underneath the seats and try to find one that was loaded. What I loved is that as much of a carnival barker Woolsey seems to be, he always delivers these little bits of wisdom to whoever's willing to listen to him.
But it's for their own good. See, people who go like this at the scary parts, they're not getting the whole benefit. You got to keep your eyes open.
What's the benefit?
Okay, like a zillion years ago, a guy's living in a cave. He goes out one day, bam, he gets chased by a mammoth. Now he's scared to death, but he gets away. And when it's all over with, he feels great.
Well, yeah, because he's still living.
Yeah, but he knows he is, and he feels it. So he goes home, back to the cave. First thing he does a drawing of the mammoth. And he thinks, people are coming to see this. Let's make it good. Let's make the teeth real long and the eyes real mean. Boom. The first monster movie. That's probably why I still do it.
What's funny is that after a while, people start to really notice when he's about to launch into these, over-the-top Patton-esque speeches. So I love when the theater manager rolls his eyes and just walks away, and then backstage, his girlfriend, played by Kathy Moriarty, just interrupts him before he goes off into another speech with the new employee. Those are always funny bits. Throughout the movie, it's not just the kids that have to grow up. You have the feeling that Woolsey feels that he's going to need to grow up because he knows that his time of making monster movies is running out.
Yeah. Tomo-vision, Rumble-Rama. Takes a lot more to scare people these days. Too much competition. Give me the pliers, will you, kid? Now they got bombs that'll kill 500,000 people. Nobody's had a good night's sleep in years. So you gotta have a gimmick, you know.
By the end of the movie, Woolsey seems to know that Mant will be his first and only big hit, because it's getting harder and harder to scare people in a movie theater when real life is scary enough. Dante made this point even clearer with the ending shot of the kids looking at a flyby of the jets and a helicopter, alluding to the fact that they're going to have to deal with the Vietnam War in just a few years, and things are only going to get worse from now. There are a lot of fantastic little details that a lot of baby boomers would love, from the wardrobe, the movie spoofs, the music and the soundtrack, but one of my favorite details is from the scene where Stan breaks off his date with Sherry. The Skeeter Davis song, The End of the World, plays in the background, and his Mad Magazine cover has a target on it. You always have to keep your eyes and ears open when you watch a Joe Dante movie, because he'll always slip in jokes that not many people would ever notice. And I have to point out my favorite joke in the movie, and one of my favorite movie jokes ever is from this conversation.
What the hell is that?
War news.
Oh, you got a bet on it?
Just the idea that someone would place a bet on whether or not a nuclear war would start is hilarious. But what's even funnier is the idea that someone would actually collect on it if they won. The only criticism that I have with the movie is that the kids are a bit too archetypal. You have the geek, the kid that just wants to get laid, you have the political girl, and you have the beauty queen. It would have been nice to see them have a little bit more depth, but it's a 90-minute movie and there's only so much time, and it's only a minor complaint. So if you haven't seen this movie, definitely check it out. I wouldn't know where to get it. It's actually pretty hard to find on video, and don't know if it's on online or Netflix, but try to make an effort. It's definitely worth your while. Sorry for the long drought in between videos. Had to work retail during the holidays, and if any of you worked retail during this time of year, you just know how much of a hell it could be. So thanks for your patience, and thanks for watching.